In this tutorial, we will be creating a timer class. So what you need to do first is open up a new open processing, and we're going to go save it straight away. So top right hand corner, save my sketch, and we're going to call it timer class and hit submit. That way, when you hit save, you don't have to set that up later. Alright, so let's get into our code. So again, we're using P5js, just make sure you got that on. And I've got my text up nice and large so you can see it, and I'm not in dark mode. Alright, so in our main sketch, we're going to leave most of our main sketch alone to begin with. We've got our canvas set up here at the top, and we've got a background set. That's our setup, and at the moment we've got an ellipse in our drawer, and we're going to get rid of that ellipse, we don't need it. It's gone. Alright, so I'm going to leave that alone for now, and we're going to create a new tab. So up next to my sketch, I go up there, a little plus symbol appears up here, and I'm going to click on it, and it creates a new tab. I'm going to double tap on it, and I'm going to create a timer and name it timer. Alright, so now that we have a timer tab, a new file, we're going to give it a class, timer, and this is going to be our class. Now we've got brackets here, and we'll put a bracket down there. So the first thing we need to do in our timer is create the timer, so we need a constructor. And we will leave that empty for the moment, and we will create our squiggly brackets, circle brackets at the top there. Squiggly brackets define what goes in our constructor. Now, this is going to need a time value. Going to need the time value, yep, that's going to help. What else are we going to need? We're going to leave that one alone there. We haven't assigned it anything. We're going to need to set the time, so we need to know what the time is. We want to set the time first, I think. This dot set time. That'll have a capital T in the time. We won't set that one just yet. And I think the only other timer we need is, I'm going to go with two variables here, is dot, oops, there should not be a space there. Make sure there's no space there. That was a mistake. So yeah, this dot, and you have timer, you don't leave a space. We're going to have a pause, because we're going to want to be able to pause our timer, and then one more, this dot, and end timer. So we've got a few things here. So now we need to set some of these variables up. So we need to be able to set the time. So we need to get in our time that we want our timer to start counting down from. So it's a countdown timer. So say it goes from 10 seconds and count down. We're going to set it to seconds. We're going to have it in seconds with a decimal point, so for milliseconds. But yeah, we're going to be counting in seconds because we don't need our timer to be going for too long. If we wanted something that was going to run for days on end, we probably wouldn't use seconds. We'd use hours or minutes or something like that. But we're going to work with seconds. So we can put a comment here and go count down timer, just so we know what this is doing. Okay, so we can put a comment in. That's how we do a comment, double backslash. All right, set time is going to be equal to start time. So that's that up there. Should match what you've got up there. Now our time, so when we start it, it's going to be equal to this dot set time. Boom. Pause is going to be equal to, there's going to be a boolean. I have that as false, and end, this is when our timer ends or stops or finishes. We're going to have that as false as well, so it starts off as false because we're setting the time at the start. Alright, so we've got a timer class, and if we run that now, nothing will happen, it'll just sit there. So we need a few things. We need to get the timer to count down. So we need some sort of countdown. going to get it to count down. That's going to be a function for us. We're going to need to be able to reset time. What else are we going to need? Somehow to display time. Time is pretty useful. And then we're going to come back and fill these out. We're just getting all our stuff set up. And what else do we need? I think we need to be able to pause time. Yep, pause time. Time. Oops. There we go. You might have noticed we're using a name convention here. We're using like pause and then a capital letter for the second one. If I had a third pause time now, say, we'd have a capital on that one, so it's just easy to read. But we don't need that there. So we're using camel casing. You can go look that up if you would like. So we've got all our functions, countdown, reset time, display time, pause time, and there's one more we want to do, and that is change time. Or change duration. Let's say change time duration, maybe. We could have 3 words in there. Change time duration. Bit of a long-winded one, but it tells us exactly what it does. It changes time's duration. All right, so we've got a whole bunch. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 functions we need to fill out and figure out. All right, so where do we start? We're going to start at the countdown part. Oh, no, we need to display the time. Display the time is always the most important thing to do first. So we're going to do a really simple one. We're going to print to the console this dot time. Oops, wrong bracket. Oh, bad on the keyboard today. All right, so print this dot time. That's how we're going to display it. It's going to go to the console. So when we run this, nothing will happen at the moment, but there can be a console that pops up down the bottom here. It's like a little message box that tells us information. So I'm going to go create one of our timers. We haven't actually created it. We've got all this in here. We've got our different functions. They're not filled out yet, but we do have a constructor, which is good. And we're going to go back over to our main sketch, and we're going to go let. And we're going to go, what are we going to go? Let's call it game timer. Game timer. That's a cool name. All right, so that's the name of our variable. Now we need to set it up. Is equal to a new, because we need a new timer. Timer. And now what do we need in here? We need a second variable. So second, how many seconds? Let's go 10 seconds of time. So it starts 10 and counts down. All right, sweet. Let's just run that code, see if we get any errors. No errors. Awesome. I'm going to save my work a bit now too. All right, so in draw, I'm going to, what do we want? Game timer dot display. What did I name it? What did I call my function? Display time. Boom. So that was that function. What does this function do again? This function in the timer class, it goes print this dot time. What should we have as a variable come out? Hopefully we get 10. And see down the bottom here, the console is rendering out the time. And it's coming up with 10, constantly just coming out with 10 because we haven't got to count down or do anything there. And it leaves the console up here. So we can see we've had 10 in the console down the bottom here. All right. So we need to now make time count down. And to do this, we need to know some of the internal functions of the computer. So this dot time, which is our time variable, I'm going to go minus equals. We need to know delta time. Delta time is the number of milliseconds. Well, it's represented in milliseconds, but it's the amount of time between frame 1 and frame 2. So if we had, this is frame 1, this is frame 2, and so this is 1, this is 2. It's the amount of time that the computer takes to get from 1 to the next frame. So it's the number of milliseconds it takes to get from one to the other. Now, it represents that as like a number like 22, but we needed to go to microseconds, so we need to divide it by 1,000. So it's converting our values. Oh, there we go. I just need to get rid of that dot because that's going to drive me insane. All right, cool. So what we need to do is we need to divide by 1,000, and let's see what happens. Actually, nothing's going to happen at the moment. Our code should run, and we get nothing. Why? Because we haven't actually used this function yet. We set it up. The timer is going to go down by thousands of whatever delta time is. It's roughly 1 divided by 60, which is like 0.022 of a second. So that's what we need. So game timer dot count down. That's the name of our function. So if we run this now, what's going to happen? Oh, look at that. Our numbers down the bottom here, all down here. It's going to keep counting down. It's pretty impressive. It's going to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Oh, it's going into negatives. Yeah, it'll just keep going on forever. All right, so until it runs out of space. So what do we need to do? We need to have it stop. We're not going to get it to stop in here. We're going to go back into our class for the timer. I'm going to put an if statement in. So I'm going to put a space above this and go if this time is greater than 0. So when it hits 0 is less than 0, it won't do this anymore. Now this is where we can also say when it ends, because else and this dot end would be equal to true because it's run out, hasn't it? Oops, I've got my brackets wrong. Control B on the keyboard. Control B on the keyboard will help you. Now it's saying I'm missing something. What is it saying? What's my error? Doesn't like this. Missing semicolon. True. Oh, don't need that. There we go. Control B that again. Yep, there we go. Just get rid of those extra brackets. All right, so I had a couple of errors in there. So I put a circular bracket on the end of that one. So we should now, when we run this, get it to count down from 10. It's going to count down from 10 all the way down, and hopefully it's going to stop when it hits 0. Yep, beautiful. It stopped when it hit 0, and I'm going to guess that this became true. That should have become true, which is really good. So now, what if we want to reset it back to time? All right, so let's go this dot time. So we've basically already done the countdown time. The countdown timer. It's done. It is finished. We just now got to add some more functionality to it so we can reuse the timer, pause the timer, change the value of the timer. We're pretty much done. It's pretty easy and pretty simple what we've done so far. We really only need to set up our constructor, get it to count down, and tell us when it stops. Done. That's it. Oh, we need to display it as well. Now we're just doing some of these other interesting functions. So resetting the time so we can use it again, pausing the time and then restarting the time using the pause function, and then change the amount of time. So instead of 10 seconds, we can change it after we've stopped it. All right, so we're going to go into reset. So this dot time is equal to this dot set time, because that held our variable for 10. So when it came into here, we put it into this variable here, and we said, yep, the set time is 10. We set up the time that actually counts down to 10, and then we started counting down. If we ever wanted to reset it, we've still got 10 in here. This will be at 0 because we've got to the bottom of our timer and it stops, but this reset will be able to get us our time back, which was 10. All right, we're going to fill out the pause time as well, and we're going to fill out the change duration. So pause time, really simple. This dot pause is equal to value. Now you probably think value. What is value? What is value? We're going to put it up here. So when we use this function, we're going to tell it what the value is. It's going to be true or false if we want to pause it or not pause it. And change time is again pretty similar. This dot set time is equal to new time, which again, you're probably going, where is this new time? I'm going to use that and stick it up here. So I'm going to put it in here so that every time we set this function, we go, I want to change the time on this timer. I want to set it to 60 seconds. So a minute, perfect minute, 60 seconds. We use this function. And I can set it to whatever I like. I could set it to 49, 27, 32, 51. Doesn't matter what I change it to. When I do that, it'll set the time to that. All right, so we've literally created our timer class, but we haven't used it all yet. Yeah, this is all awesome, but we've never used this. We've never used this. We've never used that. We have used display time, and we have used countdown. Now, let's have a little look at what we're going to do. So, we've got it counting down. We've got it displaying. We've got it counting down. Now, we're going to get into a little bit of input, and this is where programs need more than just one thing. Sometimes we need to combine things together. So we're going to look at input, and we're going to just look at basic keystroke inputs from the keyboard. So if key is, there's a capital I, press is equivalent to true, that's why we put 3 in there. And we want to get one particular key on its own, is say, let's go R. It's a lowercase r, so we can't have capitals on. It's a lowercase r. Let's have a look, see. I'm just going to clear. Just going to raise clear screen. There we go. Just going to remove the screen. Back to mouse. Cool. All right. So just going to clear the screen. So what I'm saying here is I'm going to say if a key is pressed, we'll check to see if a key is being pressed. Any key on the keyboard. Beautiful. Then we're going to check to see if the key was a lowercase r. If it is a lowercase r, I want to do something inside these brackets. And the thing that I want to do is I want to reset the timer. Set time. Yeah. So what have we got? We've got reset time. This is going to do that. Now, I do probably want to add something in, but I'll have a look in a second. All right. So I'm going to press play. It's going to count down. I'm going to hit R on the keyboard. Oh, no, it crashes. What does it say? Game timer is not a function. Let's have a look. Oh, can't spell. That's how easy it is to make a mistake. If you make a spelling mistake up here, it will crash. Alright, let's hit it again. Oh, when I hit it, look down the bottom here. When I hit it, it's at 7. Boom. Hit R. 10, 10, 10. I hold down R, guess what? It sets it to 10 constantly. Let go, keeps counting down. Yeah, that's okay. We'll leave that like that. So it's 10. Beautiful. It works. So we've reset our timer to 10. Now, I do want to change one thing in the reset timer. So back up here in time, go to reset time. I'm going to set also this dot end is equal to false because we just reset the timer. We need to reset the whether your timer stopped or not because we just reset it. Well, the timer's finished, not stopped, because we'll use a pause value for stopping it temporarily. But I just wanted to add that up in there. So we now can reset the time. Reset it back to where it was. Alright, what if we wanted to pause the time? pausing. All right, so I'm going to write another if statement down the bottom here. If P is pressed, equivalent, oops, 3 of them, true, and key is, let's go with, let's go S. No, P for pause, of course. P for pause. Alright, boom. Now I want to pause it. So game timer dot pause time. Oh, is that a variable name? Should check that. Pause time. Yep, there it is. Now pause time needs a input. It needs to be true or false. I want to set it to true. We do want to pause it. Alright, let's run this. Alright, gonna hit P. Now nothing is happening. Nothing in the foreground is happening. You can't see the number change. When I hit R, reset to 10. Hit P, doesn't do anything yet, but it is doing something in the background. It is actually changing our value for pause. No, I spelled that wrong. Look at that. I had a spelling mistake in there. Didn't even notice. Awesome. So it's resetting our value to pause to true, but that doesn't actually stop anything at the moment. So we need to go up to our countdown. What do we want to happen when our countdown is running and we hit the pause button? We want it to stop temporarily, just temporarily. We don't want it to keep going, just want it to pause temporarily. Okay, so we need another if statement. I'm going to go if this dot pause, spell that correctly, good, false, then we can do this. Now, we want the other bracket. Now, this is the tricky part. You've got to get the brackets in the right spot. You want it all the way down here. There you go. And if I hit Control B, it'll nice and neat. So all of this, everything inside here happens if pause is false. So that means we're not pausing it. Pause is true, our timer doesn't count down. Doesn't that sound pretty good? Let's have a look and see if it works. Alright, hit P. Oh, our timer has paused. If I hit P again, it's just going to keep pausing it. We have no way of unpausing it. I could reset it back to 10, but it's still paused. I can't do anything. Alright, so we need another button. And I'm going to copy paste this time, just because I'm a bit lazy. Alright, so this is our third one. This is our third one. And instead of P, I'm going to go O next to it. Not 0, just O. Letter O. And instead of true, I'm going to say false. So what I've done is I've got 3 if statements now here. I've got one to say if R is hit, it resets. If P is hit, it pauses. If O is hit, then it unpauses. Let's run that. Let's see if R works. Hitting R works. Down the bottom here. P pauses it. O restarts it. Keeps it going. It unpauses it. And it goes from where it left off. Now, if I hit restart, good, we're good. Awesome. It's going really well. Let's save our work. So I've only got a couple more things left to do. We're going to do, what are we going to do? I'm going to do an if statement. We're going to do another key. I'm going to copy this key code again. And we're going to set it to N for a new time. Alright, we're going to get rid of this. Get rid of that. Alright, so game timer dot. What's our last function we haven't used? Change time duration. Cool. I'm going to copy paste that because I'm a bit lazy. And we need to set it to a new time. So I reckon we set it to a minute long. Yep. So let's run that. Alright, it's going. If I hit R, it resets it to 10. If I hit P, pauses it. If I hit O, restarts it. If I hit N, does something happen? Did anything happen? Well, it did. It changed what the value of our timer is. But we have to hit the R key to restart the timer to get that new time. It doesn't change the timer in the middle of the timer. That wouldn't work. That'd be pretty terrible. So that is how we're using the timer. That's pretty much everything for the timer. That's all we need for our timer. There is one more thing that we had in there. What was that extra little thing I put in there? I put in when it ended. And we don't have any way of checking to see if it ended or not. So, but we can reference that variable directly. So we could say if aim timer dot end is equivalent to true and display a message. How do we do this? Print. We're going to put in quotes. Stop. Have a look if that works. See if it works. Counting down, counting down, counting down. Hopefully, when it gets to 0, the timer will stop. Boom. Yep. Now, as soon as it hit that 0 or less, it stopped. And it's saying stop continuously. That's good. Now, if we run that again, wait for it to go down. Give it a 10 seconds, obviously. Hopefully our timer is 10 seconds. And takes 10 seconds. Stop, 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 stop. Hit restart. Oh, there we go. Stop saying stop. It goes back to saying our number. And then it should go down to the bottom again and it'll start saying stop again. If we hit N and then hit R, it'll start up again with our new time. It's going really well. But that's everything for our timer class. So hopefully you've got everything here. So from line 1 to line, let's get rid of the console, 22. That's that there. Just leave that on screen for a second. All right. And so you can pause the video just to check that you've got everything written correctly. And then from line 23 down to 31, just check that real quick. And then over in our timer class, scroll up to the top, got from line 1 to 22. Pause it if you need to, check things, make sure everything's in the right spot. And then we've got our last little bit from 23 to 33. All right, that's it for the timer class.